Previously on Follow the Leader. Magic is dying, and the Magus is dying with it. We travel together to the realm of Umbra where magic was born. Fall of Magic is a collaborative storytelling game where we play a group of travelers in the company of the Magus. On the way, we'll encounter strange hosts, fantastic places, and perilous choices as we play to discover who our characters are, how they relate, and how our journey changes them.
My character's name is Arcady. They use they-them pronouns. And they are a fugitive of Stormguard. They took something that they should not have. And didn't look back.
I will be taking the helm of Arcturus Regulus, a knight of Stormguard.
I will be playing Lothalie, who is a midwife of Barleytown. Faye uses Faye or she pronouns, and I just want to say that I envisioned Faye as a, very large, 9 foot tall, half-treant person with, leaves for hair that change with the seasons. So, we now return to your game, already in progress.
August.
Oh boy, it's time for Magus motion, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, technically you could always keep being at the same location, because there's more than 3 prompts
True.
for us. But, why?
We got a good pace going.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you could keep moving.
Yeah. So, the next location is Hall of the Woods, with the prompt, The Hospitality of the Grey Rangers. So I think what this looks like is actually, what immediately comes to mind is the Fellowship getting lost in the woods and getting picked up by the Rangers of Lothlorien.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those things where maybe we've been wandering potentially in circles for maybe a couple of days, and the Magus is even as Lothalie is getting a little antsy because she keeps seeing that one weeping willow, even as there's the growing kind of anxiety of, oh god, we're stuck here, the Magus is in fairly good spirits. He's just yeah, we'll be out of here shortly. We're almost at the end. I know we'll emerge from the mist soon. And that is when, on the 3rd time that the Magus says this, maybe on the 3rd day that he's been saying this, is when we run into the Grey Rangers. I'm trying to decide, are the Grey Rangers even human? I mean, obviously, they get their name Grey Rangers from somewhere, so is it, because they all have gray skin, or is it just because they have, gray gear that they carry?
I like the thought. This is just a pitch if you like it. Maybe the Grey Rangers are ghosts.
Oh, yes.
And they walk the woods. And that's why they are the Grey Rangers, because they look almost ashen and they're that verging on translucent, but not.
I absolutely love this idea. And when the first one appears, like, he kind of starts on a speech about, like, how what we were doing and where we were treading is so dangerous, and the Magus just interrupts him and is just like, "You're late. I've been expecting you for a while now. You are to guide us out of here." And the ranger just kind of looks a little taken aback. But, you know, this is the Magus. Like, even ghosts know who the Magus is, so it's just like, he's not gonna argue. And he and his compatriots and, like, their little hunting party accompany us to the Hall of the Woods.
Nice.
Which I think, so, like, the map depicts it as kind of, like, almost a ramshackle cabin, and I really like that idea, except, like, I'm thinking maybe it's more like one of those, like, Viking longhouses. But, like, the wood almost looks petrified.
Dig that.
Yeah. And I think we each get our own accompanying ranger as we're guided to the hall, and the leader of the Grey Rangers, who's the one that the Magus interrupted, just says, "You've obviously been lost in the mist for quite some time. Feel free to use our facilities to regain your bearings. We do not have much to offer, being as we have dissimilar needs from those of your kind. But what we have, you are welcome to."
At least you've got space. Arcturus pushes through the ghosts to put his bag down in his room. And I think one thing is that when Arcturus comes into his room, it's like, you know, a solid sized chamber, big enough that it has like a singular like log holding up the ceiling, like a pillar, a support beam. And he puts his stuff down on this like kind of bed and looks back at it. And this log has a sword slash in it that matches his sword.
Very, very good.
Love it.
Alrighty.
Jade.
Ja. Looking at these going. So many good choices.
Yeah, there's a lot of good ones in this one.
Yeah.
I did it, but I am a little sad to not go through the Stormguard Mountains.
Yeah, Stormguard Mountains has some good prompts too.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I'm excited that we're doing stuff that I haven't heard, because I don't know these parts of the map. So this is good. I appreciate how dark things have got now in Hall of the Woods. I think I'm going to go with Spirit Lake.
Ooh.
What the Rangers teach you. I'm trying to... I like the thought that out the back of the lodge is like this. I like that there is an actual lake. Because I really am a sucker for that visual of like mist over water. And like, it's like this eerie stillness. It kind of like, does this water ever move? Because it looks like almost like a mirror. But because of the mist, there's nothing really for it to reflect. But this is like Arcady walking out along this sort of like buoy or pier to pontoon was the word I was looking for. There we go. Out over the water and sits, because this is quiet. And one of the rangers finds them out there. And I think what this is, and one of you is welcome to play a ranger if you want, but what I like the notion of this being is Arcady learning to truly like maybe even listen or to expand their senses, or to see into a slightly different space. And then maybe they drink some of the water as well. Seems like a delightfully bad idea. So...
I think the water, maybe it looks like water, but when you, like, go to drink it, it almost turns, like, misty in your palms.
Oh, I love that.
And it's like drinking smoke when you finally put it to your lips.
Less a drink and more of an inhale.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I think what RK is being taught is something about sacrifice of the self. And I feel like they drink of the lake or breathe of the lake, and they then exhale. And it's like, obviously your breath mists when it's cold, but it's almost denser. Mm-hmm. And the mist that comes out of their mouth crackles a little. And I think some silver hair. Some of their hair is turned a little bit silvery.
Nice.
And the ranger was just like, don't give more than you can spare, but know that you can give it. And that's the scene.
Hell yeah. Getting learns.
Becoming a learned.
Magus is so proud.
All right. Zach.
Oh boy, what is this man going to do this night? I'm actually kind of like, I've got a couple ideas, but nothing that's like super like leaping out at me.
Do you want to roll for it?
Yeah, maybe.
Even if you get one thing in your brain goes, actually, no, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, that's. So we are at the hall, and like, so there's like a night's rest, and Arcturus is like, okay, we've rested, so let's go, let's keep moving, let's go on. And we cannot lose any more time to this damnable wood. And the rangers are like, no, sorry, you can't leave yet. The path is not yet drawn. And Arcturus is like, what the hell does that mean? And if the Magus would like to help explain, probably this would be a good place for him to flex his knowledge.
You want to take it, August?
I think the Magus is like sucking on a fantasy Werther's at this point, and he says, well, sometimes maps are unfinished, and we have to wait for the cartographer to complete their work.
But we didn't have... It was a riddle, or a poem. It was a riddle poem. Is this a new map?
Well, it's a metaphorical map. I'm sorry, he's drifting into, like, Dumbledore territory, and I don't know why.
It's all just weirdo wizard stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's perfect. It's right. And it says, the mountain has had the same trails for 6 million years.
Has it really been 6 million years? It barely feels like 3.5.
Okay. All right.
He's like half smiling, and he says, remember, sometimes it's the journey that matters more than the destination, and sometimes it's important to take a path you've not been on before in order to learn. And the Magus extends his hand and offers Arcturus a candy that's been wrapped in foil, and it crackles a little, and he says, "Spark drop?"
You're lucky I'm partial to them. Takes it and unwraps it and crunches down on it.
The Magus, like, kind of just pats Arcturus on the shoulder and says, "Sometimes in order to proceed forward, you need to stay where you are for a moment."
Let's see, did we proceed at all? And he goes and sulks in his room.
Oh, buddy. This very serious man stuck with some very not serious people.
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
Ooh. I have 2 options. Let me roll for it.
What does it mean?
Well, it's one of those things where it's like you roll for it and you don't like the outcome, so you take the other one, so it helps you decide anyway.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that's actually one of Caden Kalian's placards of wisdom.
Is it really?
Which is if you don't know what you want to do, flip a coin and then do the thing you were hoping it landed on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go to the Circle of Ancients. The story prompt being a disturbing ritual.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to think of if anybody would be with Lawfully here. Because Faye, like, I'm thinking the Circle of Ancients is a very deliberately planted circle of, like, petrified redwoods, just enormously tall and enormously wide and just, like, almost bone white. And I don't know, maybe Arcady could be with Fair
sure.
after the Spirit Lake experience, because the disturbing ritual I'm imagining is actually like an induction into the Grey Rangers that Lawfully stumbles on. Just kind of like wandering, and I don't know if maybe she would have bumped into Arcady or not at that point. It's up to you.
No, I like that.
Yeah, I think, we're just walking and we bump into each other. Lawfully kind of nods at your hair and says, "Looks good, Your Majesty."
Please don't call me that.
That was an in-character laugh. But she says, "Still looks good."
Well, thank you.
And I think this is where they stumble upon the circle. And I'm remembering something I read about women who choose to be, I don't know how to pronounce the word. I think it's doula. Because that's like, kind of midwife adjacent. But women who choose to be death doulas, kind of easing the passing. And so I think in the center of the circle, there is a person kind of like lying on their back, and they clearly do not look well. And there's a Grey Ranger kneeling at their head, and the Ranger just like has the head cradled in their lap and is just like kind of running hands over, running their fingers over the cheeks and stuff, making soothing noises while other Rangers are arranged around them. And like there's probably like some sort of like hum, like maybe just like a low murmur with just the hint of a melody. And nobody notices us, I think. Like, we're clearly interlopers, but we haven't been spotted as we're watching this. And, like, I think that as the ritual culminates, the death doula just sort of, like, not grabs, but, like, rests their hands on the dying person's shoulders and runs them up the neck and head, and we can, like, physically see gray mist being pulled from the body as it goes limp. And the death doula just, like, gathers the mist in their arms. And it's, like, completely formless. It's just a bundle of mist, and they cradle it like you would cradle a baby. And Lothalie is just, like, frozen, because to her, this is both familiar and, like, antithetical to what she does.
Yeah.
And, like, the rangers assembled, they don't walk away, they just, like, disperse, like, on the wind, just, like, a gust of wind blows and they just, like, get blown away with it.
Yeah.
A bit of a grisly sight, eh?
Is that in character with the Magus?
Yeah.
Lothalie doesn't jump, but she's clearly surprised. And she turns to the Magus, clearly shaken, and is just like, I don't like it here.
Yes, it is an acquired taste. Usually only acquired upon death.
I don't think this is a taste I want to acquire.
No, I suppose not. But, do not think too poorly of the Grey Rangers for their customs, my friend. For there are many who get lost in the woods, and at least with the Rangers, they can be found.
I don't think Lothalie can shiver, but she does, like, put fair arms, you know, like kind of hug herself.
Mm-hmm.
And just, like, keeps looking at the empty circle, but she doesn't respond to the Magus.
Yeah, kind of is, like, you know, appropriately somber for the occasion. And, you know, just puts a warm hand on Fair, like, tree shoulder, and says, yes, this will, not be the last spirit we see, but it's found a home. And he kind of trots back to the, lodge, the hall.
Yeah, I think, unless Arcady says something, I think that's scene.
Yeah, I think, I'm trying to suss out what their reaction to that was. I think they're a lot more comfortable with it than Lothalie is, but they're sort of respectful enough of the fact that Faye are having a hard time with it to not say anything. So I think they'll, like, also, like, give a very sort of awkward pat on the arm. I think there's that faint crackle, or it's like that. Maybe, well, I doesn't feel it, but it's like that. You're getting static shock off somebody else as they head back into.
Man, this place is somber.
Oh,
Yeah.
And it's me.
Yes.
Can I see the next bit of the map? Because I think the Magus is going to move. All right. Oh, dang. It's just going to keep getting somber, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just, more spirits.
Yeah. So we're moving to Spirit River. Sorry, I just got distracted by the prompts that are available here. It's very exciting.
Mm-hmm. I actually had an idea for this prompt for Spirit River.
Oh, then please, if you've...
Mm-hmm. Well, you can describe the location and the area and the Magus and stuff.
All right. I think what this looks like is the mist clears enough from the edge of the lake for us to see that there is a tributary to it.
Mm-hmm.
And the mage's just like, boats then. And turns to us, I told you the path would reveal itself. And now, less of that. And gives like an affectionate like thump on the shoulder, kind of like, come on. And we load up, and we're just going to keep referencing other materials, but I do like the visual of like the boats that's seen in Fellowship of the Ring.
Mm-hmm.
Because of how large the lawyer is, I think she has to have a boat to herself, even though she's probably fairly buoyant anyway. But it's like, it's a sign of respect more than anything else, but she's in one boat.
This is not a river you want to sink into.
Maybe they all have their own little boat, except for Lola, who has a bigger one. Like, it's more like a flat barge.
Like a train.
Yeah, or I was going to say like the... how can I say, like, it's just more of a flat thing. So there's room for her to sit with her things. And I think like this tributary gets revealed, and we're able to load up, and the rangers bid us farewell. And as we sort of start to float down this river, and at first we have to use like punting, like poles to sort of move along, and oars, but soon a current picks up beneath us, and the mist folds closed behind us as we move downriver. And as the mist clears, we sort of see the trees around us, and it's like more like a wintry forest now, and it's very skeletal trees. But what's weird is it looks like it should be cold, but it doesn't feel cold, and that's more disconcerting than anything else. But the sky above us is clear but grey, and everything. Actually, no, I think maybe we can move out. It's nightfall. Actually, I like that more, and it's a starlit night, and the moon is a thin crescent, but very bright in the sky. And it's reflecting off the river, and like the white, almost they look like silver birches almost that reflect the light as well.
Right. It's like we're walking through we're riding through a forest that's of almost glowing trees.
Exactly that.
It's very bright, and easier than it should be to look to the south, as Arcturus knits his brow as storm clouds begin rolling in from far, far off to the south. They were supposed to wait for me to bring you back.
My mother isn't known for her patience.
Arcturus, puts a hand on the hilt of his sword. Yeah, I don't know when they'll arrive, but they are on their way.
Nice. I like it.
Oh, is it me?
It is, because we sort of tag teamed the mages there. So yeah, have at it. That can lead in.
I think as we're riding along, Arcturus, there's like a chest on the barge that was left here by the Grey Rangers for people to use, and Arcturus is rummaging in it, looking for something to do because he's painfully bored riding a boat that doesn't require any propulsion. And he pulls out from the depths of this great chest, almost a trunk, really, a fishing rod. Arcady, have you been taught to fish?
No. I don't know if he knows that they're lying to him, but this is like a peace offering for them. They want him to show them.
Well, there's no farming in the Stormguard, so we have the fishing wells, so as good a time as any for a young royal to be instructed. And he starts, drawing up fish, which is, I guess, a thing that you can do in the mountains, because there's no arable farmland, but there are these deep rivers that cut through mountain passes.
Yeah.
And there's some agriculture in Stormguard, but a lot of it's imported. He says, you pull up one. He says, "Very good. If we get back to Stormguard, it'll be good." And you hear that word, "if."
I don't know if they say anything, but there's sort of like maybe a tension that they were holding sort of lessens. I think the scent of ozone diminishes a little bit as well. And it takes on more of that quality of like the way air feels after a storm, when it's still got that lingering quality to it, but it feels very clean and almost light. I think it shifts to that. Yeah.
The petrichor. Yes. Sounds like you would be handling provisioning for this leg of the journey. As he strides over to another side of the barge and just kind of holds his hands on his hips as he looks out into the forest.
I think, like, in rapid succession, they maybe flip up a couple more fish. Just, like, while he's just sort of being very adept at it.
He puts a hand, makes it look like he's pensive to hide his smile. Putting a hand over his face.
Very good.
I actually kind of like that the Spirit River is almost always night.
I dig that.
I like that a lot.
Yeah. It makes it kind of a weird, like a surreal, like area. There's like this, I remember like old photo of like someone who had set up like an outdoor shoot inside. And so there's like a snowy like landscape, but like all of the water reflected like fluorescent lights above.
Ooh, dope.
Or something like that. So like it's like just stars, like the stars above are like deeply reflected in the river water.
Love it.
That's fantastic. Cool. I think I'm gonna go with By Starlight. Which the story prompt is regret.
Nice.
And Lothely hasn't done much with Arcturus lately. So I kind of want him in this scene, but I'm trying to figure out how best to frame it. I mean, we're on the barge still, but it's been a bit, and there hasn't been any sun, really. Since we established it's always night here. So Lothely her hair is looking a little wilted, and I think maybe she's like seated near the railing and like trying to dangle her toes down over the edge of the barge, and trying to dangle her toes down to see if she can get them wet from like, I don't think that she can actually like dip her toes into the water or anything. I feel like they're far enough above water that she can't do that, but like, maybe catch some spray or something like that on her toes. And she's just kind of like looking up at the sky and trying to decide how she phrases this. I don't even think that she like looks at Arcturus. I think Faye just starts talking and is just like, everything's so different here. I'm not sure I belong.
Like on a boat?
I mean, in the woods and the lodge and now here, everything's so strange and it's almost like the world is taunting me.
Well, I can't deny that all of this is absolutely nonsensical. But if it is taunting you, the world, in this quest that we're on, if it does mean to see you fractured and weak. And he turns to Jade and says, are you really going to give it that satisfaction?
Luckily, kind of, smiles a little bit and looks over at Arcturus and says, my mother was too much of a willow for me to crack.
Yes. And the world wants you to break. That is the time to stand. And he stands shoulder to shoulder with you and looks out over the passing landscape.
I suppose you're right.
Of course I am. I'm a knight of storm.
Luckily, arches an eyebrow, but doesn't say anything, and says, well, I thank you, Sir Knight, for your advice. I will keep it in mind and try not to wish I had not come.
I'm glad. And, if you hadn't, I don't know we would have gotten this far. You carried a lot of bags in the Mistwood.
God.
I think that's got to be seen.
I just want to add the detail of the camera, just of Arcady just looking at the two of you having this conversation, just grinning ear to ear, just this is hilarious and amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And the Magus is next to them doing the exact same thing, just
He's got a bucket of popcorn.
Gross.
Yes. And he says, you see, young Arcady, even the oldest tree can spring new life.
Yeah, but what about Waffler?
Tough old bark holds green life.
If you say so, old man. And it's said with absolute affection.
Would you like some of this pepcorn?
Yes.
It's got sriracha in it.
Ooh. Tucks in.
Incredible. I think that's you, Jade.
Alrighty. Oh, dang.
There was one that yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well.
It calls you out.
Why am I being called out this way? This is so rude. But yes, I feel like it's going to be drifting because that's what's been set up with the narrative that we're talking about. I think I was going to say, it's night. We've established that it's pretty much always night on the Spirit River, but I think maybe it's Arcady's turn to take a watch. And so everyone is resting. And I think maybe they start to feel cold. So they pull like an extra blanket or whatever up around their shoulders. And it's odd because as I said when we got here, I don't think it is cold, but they feel it in that moment. And they start humming to themselves. And it's a song that is a song they remember from their childhood, that was just around. We have this memory of a much younger Arcady, probably being called Arcady as well, as opposed to their full name. And I like the thought that it's both. I say both. So pedestrian. More than one of their parents there. I feel like Alana, the Storm Queen, isn't there. But they have maybe the Storm King there. And their other parent. Because yes. And the two of them are singing and encouraging Arcady to sing with them. And the song is maybe like a bit of a Tamlin kind of ballady story about holding on to precious things and not letting go. And I think it's a happy memory at first. And then there's just this almighty crack of lightning outside the window, and the room shakes with the force of the thunder, and the singing obviously stops immediately, and the mood in the room just plummets as a door slams open. And there's another flash of lightning, and I think that snaps us back into the present because the storm has caught up with them. And there is lightning overhead. And that's the scene.
Oh boy. All right. Magus, where are we going next?
Oh no, it's me.
It's you.
Another fork.
This is actually the end of our time for today.
Mm-hmm.
So this might be a good place to hold off.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know. Because these are both very cool options.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm down to leave it there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Cool. So
yeah. So we yes. So it gets to a point where, very much unlike a river, or perhaps like a river, that the Spirit River just ends. The bars we're riding runs aground onto some soil, with sparse, dry grass from deep in winter, dotted in snow, and we have to keep walking. And we get to the top of a nearby hill, and there are two ways before us. North to the city of Estalia, or south to somewhere else. And the Magus says, I'm not sure which way to go. And that's probably where we leave it.
I like it.
Until we come back.
Hell yeah.
And next time when we come back, the Magus will snap his fingers and say, I remembered.
Yes,
Yep.
good. Yes, very good.
all right. So let's do outros then.
Mm-hmm.
Jade, you're up.
Alrighty, I have continued to be Jade. You can still find me on Twitter at JadeOxfordRose, and you should go follow Stones_Standing over on Twitter. That is the Twitter account of our podcasting guild that we have with our good friends over at The Room Where It Happened, and there you can be kept up to date with all of our live streams and updates about the myriad of podcasts, because we have no self-control and we like talking into microphones. This is true. This is what we do now, and it's great. But that's me.
And I've been Zachary Frederickson. You can find me on Twitter at OfficeGod. You can find the music I make at iambugbear.bandcamp.com. And, yeah, this has been very cool.
Yeah, it has been. Also, you can hire Zachary to run a game for you.
You should do that.
Yes.
You absolutely should.
Details on the Twitter.
He's a very good GM. A+. Would play with again. And speaking of him being a very good GM, you can actually hear an example of him GMing if you go to patreon.com/FTLcast. We've got a special run of him running City of Mist for me, Mab, and Jade.
Right, City of Mist. I've completely forgotten.
Man, City of Mist is such a good system, y'all.
It is a cool system.
We need to go back.
But yeah, I've been August. You can find me on Twitter at Harpydora. You can find the podcast on Twitter at FTLcast or FTLcast.com. You can join our Discord. The link should be in the show notes. And I think that's it. All right. Shall we clap?
Let us clap, my friend.
Let us clap.
Hi, it's August, and I just wanted to thank you for listening. If you've enjoyed us, please consider leaving a rating on your podcast platform of choice, telling your friends about us, or tweeting about us using the FTLcast hashtag. We are also part of a nonprofit podcasting guild called Standing Stones Productions. We do a variety of shows, including The Room Where It Happened and Dumb Kids Playing Hero, 2 actual play shows, and a Steven Universe discussion podcast called Gay Space Rocks. We also do live streams at twitch.tv/StandingStonesProd. You can keep up with everything that we do on Twitter at Stones_Standing. Unfortunately, Standing Stones was already taken. Your support means a lot. Thanks again!